Hey y'all, it's Jasmeen, the owner of House of Chiron Astrology and Reiki, and I make the language of astrology digestible for all y'all. So welcome into my channel. Welcome back if you are returning. But if you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss a beat. You will not miss any of the things that I upload, any of the tips, tools, and insights of astrology and Reiki and all the good healing things that I have to offer. So, with that being said, today we are going to be talking about the Virgo full moon that happens at 5 degrees on February the 24th. Okay, but before we get into all of that, just want to let you all know that I am offering readings, I am offering Reiki, but if you need any of that information, description box down below. Also, in these videos, I typically do the readings for all 12 signs. And those readings are general readings. And I use whole sign astrology, Western astrology, but I also kind of like merge in a little bit of traditional and, modern things, whatever. Sometimes you might get a little Vedic in there, or blend a little bit. Okay. So that's just giving y'all a little foundation of how I go about doing these things, these readings and these videos. I go into detail on the full moon energy, kind of what is coming for us collectively and then individually based on your sun, moon, and or rising. I go into the readings for all 12 signs so you can get a well-rounded view of all the energy coming for you. Bars. Okay. So with that being said, let's just dive right on into the energy for this full moon that happens at 5 degrees Virgo on February the 24th. And like I said, it is emphasizing practicality and attention to detail. So it is really bringing in a significant astrological event that's like holding profound implications of not only our physical well-being because of that Virgo energy, but also emotional, spiritual. Okay. So with Virgo being associated with the digestive system and our overall health maintenance, it's really emphasizing the importance of practicality, right? And paying attention to that detail in matters concerning our physical bodies, right? So Virgo reminds us about gut health and how checking in with our gut response, especially considering that our gut is where our second brain is located, right? So just kind of keeping that in mind, that discernment and intuition is going to be really powerful and really important during this full moon energy. And so as this full moon is illuminating the earth sign of Virgo, it is inviting us to pay closer attention to our health routines and our habits, because a lot of the times our health is kind of thrown off based on our habits, right? Our daily routines, our work schedule, the people that we have in our immediate environment on a consistent basis, just the energy and the things that we are absorbing or ingesting, right? Because of that gut energy. So it's all things that you ingest. So it's ensuring that we are nurturing our bodies with care as well as precision, right? So furthermore, Virgo is closely connected to the solar plexus chakra, right? So we understand that the solar plexus chakra that's found right above the navel area, and that is that gut check area again, right? That keeps coming up. So that tells me that with this energy, it's going to be really important that we're checking in with ourselves on a consistent basis, with the things that are being released and things that are illuminating at this time, because we all know that full moons are a time for releasing. It's a culmination of the energy. So if we can think back to when we had Virgo season and we had the Virgo new moon, and we were setting our intentions at that time and what we were setting intentions towards. And now we can see the full culmination of that energy kind of manifesting right now. What part of that are we releasing, or are we launching, or are we putting out there for the world to see that kind of energy? Okay, so that being said, like I was talking about, like the chakra focus and with it being in the solar plexus, and the solar plexus is a lot to do with our confidence and being courageous and, not only being creative, but really coming from a space of confidence, right? Like knowing who we are and what we do and where we're going, and then tapping into the lower chakras to allow that to kind of get rooted and get done, right? So thinking about that chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and how it governs our sense of personal power, it's our willpower, it's our self-esteem. It's not only that, but it's also digestion of both food and life experiences. So, a lot of the times what we ingest and what we absorb in our life experiences has a direct effect on our self-esteem as well as our willpower. Right. And so, our confidence can kind of get a little compromised if we ingest something that is toxic, right? Or that is not necessarily good for us in that moment, or in that season, or at that time, or even just at all. So keep in mind that this alignment with the full moon in Virgo is highlighting the need to balance and harmonize the energies within the solar plexus chakra, right? So those things I just mentioned about self-esteem and digestion and confidence and whatnot, and ensuring that we maintain a healthy sense of self-worth while also attending to the practicalities of life, right? So making sure that we're not like getting too far out there with some things, and making sure that we're paying attention to the details while we're maintaining the things that's necessary in balancing our day to day. All right. So also, this is encouraging us to explore the interplay between idealism and practicality when it comes to the things that we are pursuing, because the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are all conjunct in the sign of Pisces at this time. Okay, so we all know Pisces is very whimsical, is very dreamy, is very etheric. It's it rules dreams and illusions and all that good stuff, creativity. And so there's like this harmonious blend of discipline and expansion that's happening with these things being in the sign of Pisces. And it's urging us to dream big while also remaining grounded in our aspirations, in tangible actions and plans as well. So making sure that the things that we're dreaming, the things that we're setting out to do, that, yeah, our feet are planted firmly on the ground while our head is in the clouds, and that we have a step-by-step process or a plan or some kind of thing to execute what it is that we're setting out to do, right? That we're not too, far out there floating and going on. Okay. Now, keep in mind that although these energies are going to be together, the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn and Pisces are going to be in a conjunction, there's also an opposition to the moon that's in Virgo. So this is reminding us the importance of finding balance, right? Compromising between, being grounded and being dreamy, right? Finding that balance between our life, well, I can't even think, our lofty ideas and the practical realities of life. Okay, so it kind of calls us for a reassessment of goals and objectives, so that way we can ensure that they're both inspiring and achieving, right? So achievable. So we're not, making these plans that are like far out of reach. It's kind of like, yeah, you can achieve anything. You can go after and seek anything. However, if you skip steps, sometimes it's like, okay, that didn't happen because you failed to do X, Y, and Z before you got to A, B, and C or whatever. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, also, this full moon is inviting us to reflect on broader societal implications of our lives, when it comes to our actions and our choices. And we can kind of like connect that to the sextile that's happening. So there's a sextile that's happening between the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn and Jupiter, right? And so this is suggesting opportunities for growth and expansion, but personally and collectively. So kind of like, where can we expand and want more, right, without losing sight of the bigger picture? Also it's kind of like underscoring the need for responsible stewardship of our resources, like making sure that we're taking care of things. And resources aren't just finances, right? Resources can be a plethora of things. So, and taking into account it's our resources as well as our talent. So using what we have, using what we have that's natural, that comes natural to us, or that has been given to us, and particularly in the light of like that Virgo's emphasis on efficiency and discernment. So making sure that we're checking in with our guts and making sure that we are paying attention to what's going on, and what habits that we're having that we need to release and let go of. And and of course, like I mentioned, it's all kind of like pertains to, or it really depends on where Virgo is aspecting your chart and where it's at and whatnot. So just kind of keep that in mind also. Now, overall, to kind of sum this up, the full moon at 5 degrees Virgo is really serving a potent reminder that there's an importance of practicality, attention to detail, and balance in our life. And so that's what it's really pushing us to kind of align to. And anything that is not bringing practicality, critical detail or balance in our lives will possibly during this full moon be released or let go of. We can see the manifestations of the work that we have done, and the work that we are still needing to do. We can see the highlight of, or it's shining a light of, on how far we have to go. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. All right. So that's the general overview collectively of what we can experience with this full moon in Virgo. And so before I get into the readings for all 12 signs, I have a few quick announcements. Okay. So first and foremost, like I previously mentioned at the very beginning of the video, that I am offering astrology readings. So I still have my natal chart readings. I have 30-minute sessions as well as 60-minute sessions. Also, we have Reiki appointments. So I have about 4 different types of Reiki sessions that you can choose from. And then there's also one of those 4 you can actually blend too. So go on my website, that description box below has all the information where you can book your appointments. I am in the process of, if you are in the Austin, Texas area, Austin, Round Rock, Hutto, that kind of area, I'm in the process of creating the ability to make house calls when it comes to my Reiki appointments. So just throwing that out there. It's a really big announcement because right now all of my Reiki appointments have been virtual. So I have the ability to now come to you all. So kind of keep that in mind. I will be updating the website over the next week so it can reflect that you want a house call if you are in my area. I will not be traveling outside of the city. But yes, so keep that in mind. Of course, the astrology readings are all virtual. We do those live. And then I send you the recording thereafter, but more so, yeah, those are the changes that are happening within the readings and whatnot. The House of Chiron merch, the shirts, hats, hoodies, tote bags, and all the things are still available on the website. I am working on new things also. So kind of keep that in mind. And we are going to say that give it about like a 2-week turnaround before you get the shipment detail, because manufacturing and then also making the material for you all, it is made by order. So kind of keep that in mind on when you are in the process of receiving your merchandise, that it might be a little longer than your Amazon. You can't get it overnight. Sorry, I try. So yeah, keep that in mind. And what else was there? The merch, Reiki. I think that is it for now. If something else come up after these readings, I'll mention it at the end. All right. So let's just go ahead and dive right on into these readings for all 12 signs. Okay, so before we dive into that, I just want to remind you, make sure you are listening for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Okay, so your rising is going to be first and primary. That is the most accurate reading for your sign. Second will be your sun sign. That is directly reflected to your goals, your career, your focus, kind of things that's happening right now, in essence, like in your career area of life or with authority figures, things like that. And last but not least will be your moon sign. That is more subjective. It has a lot to do with your emotional world. It also can reflect your home and family, your current living situations. Okay. So with that being said, let's dive right on into these readings for all 12 signs. And we're first going to start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising. In Aries, this Virgo full moon is happening in your 6th house. So this is the house that emphasizes the health and routines, right? The one we were just talking about. So it's home house technically, right? So it's all about service to others, the work that you do. And so it's emphasizing all of these areas, right? You're encouraged to pay attention to your physical well-being and your daily habits, ensuring that these things are supporting your vitality as well as your productivity, right? So making sure that you're not doing burnout, right? And anything that is creating burnout that is not allowing you to have balance in your life, release and let it go. This is a favorable time for you to implement a new exercise, new regimen when it comes to that, excuse me, or new dietary changes to boost your overall health, right? You may also find fulfillment in serving others or volunteering your time to assist those that are in need, okay? So keeping it moving, let's move on to Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 5th house, and this is the house that focuses on creativity, self-expression, romance, and children, and creative projects and things like that. It's also your soul expression, right? It has a lot to do with your authenticity. And so during this time, you are encouraged, Taurus, to indulge in activities that bring you joy and pleasure, whether it's pursuing a creative hobby, spending time with loved ones, or exploring romantic connections, hanging out with your kids, working on a creative project, whatever it is, as long as you are enjoying it, that's what you are encouraged to do more of. This is a time to embrace your inner child, kind of have fun, get back into your hobbies, express yourself authentically, right? Right, it has a lot to do with your authenticity, allowing your creativity to shine brightly, to launch something, go out there, express yourself, talk about your story, share it with people in a like-minded community, things like that. Okay, so moving on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 4th house, and so this is the house that highlights themes of home and family and emotional security. Excuse me. Right, so you are really prompted to focus on your domestic lifestyle, your domestic sphere, so to speak. So nurturing your relationship with your family members, your mom, whoever you live with, your children, if you have some, if you are a mother. And it's also creating a harmonious living environment, right? So this is an opportune time for introspection and exploring your roots, diving into your ancestry, things like that, understanding how your past influences your present emotional landscape, like things that you previously experienced and how it's affecting you now, and just kind of diving into that, speaking with your mom, connecting with the feminine influences in your life that has, things that you need to learn and things that you need to know. Okay. Now, moving forward, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 3rd house. So this has a lot to do with communication, learning. This has to do with transportation and vehicles. This is about your immediate environment, your local community. This is about social media, any type of correspondence or form of communication, small business, your siblings, your cousins, those friends that feel like siblings, all of those things. So you're encouraged to really express yourself with clarity and assertiveness. So whether it's through writing, speaking, networking, if you have been working on a writing project, whether it's poetry, a book, or something, time to launch it, get it on out there. This is a favorable time for learning new skills, right? If you're looking to get into trade school, this is perfect because the 3rd house rules trades, and all those different types of skills. Engaging in intellectual pursuits. If you're looking to go back to school, now's the time to create that plan. Now's the time to start doing that research and figuring out what education system is going to be best for you. Or just simply connecting with your siblings or your neighbors, right? So kind of keep an eye open, keep an open, what am I talking about? Keep an open mind and embrace opportunities for growth and expansion in your immediate environment. Okay. So moving forward to Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Virgo full moon is happening in your 2nd house. So this is really highlighting and shining a light, shining a bright light on the finances of your life, right? The shadowy parts of your finances, your values, your self-worth. So you're prompted to really assess your financial situation and cultivate a sense of abundance and security. And like I used to say this a lot, that your net worth is directly connected to to your self-worth. Yeah, I used to say that all the time. I haven't said that in a minute, but clearly you can see that because I forgot what the saying was. But anywho, it's connected, right? So it has a lot to do with your values, and it has a lot to do with your finances, right? So it's a really great time. It's favorable for you to be budgeting, saving, or reevaluating your spending habits, so that way things that you are spending on needs to align to your long-term goals. I will say that. So if you have been just frivolously spending and just splurging, now's the time to rein that back in and pay close attention to the details of what your finances and your financial situation really is, and focus on cultivating, what you want it to look like moving forward. Also, cultivating self-worth and independent of material possessions. Like you're not connected to things that you have acquired, right? But there's a reflection. It can be a reflection of it, right? It does not mean that because you don't have money, you have no worth. No, it's not necessarily saying that. It's saying like, okay, it's a reflection because you're not living in your values in a certain way. And so it's showing up in your finances, right? And so finding value also within like your innate talents and your abilities, kind of reassessing those things as well. And then really focusing on things that bring you pleasure and doing more of that. Okay. Because second house is the thing that brings us pleasure also. All right. So moving forward, we have Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Pause. All right. So Virgo, this Virgo full moon is your full moon. It is happening in your sign, in your first house. So this is really bringing a focus on your self-image, your identity, your personal growth, as well as, how you see yourself, how other people see you, your initiatives and your confidence, right? So you're encouraged to really embrace your individuality and assert your needs and desires with confidence at this time. It's a really favorable time for self-improvement, whatever that is. If you have some endeavors, whether you're getting back into school or, you're choosing to, invest in yourself in different ways, maybe through mentorship, something like that. But whatever it is, self-improvement. That is the focus. It could also be, your physical appearance. It could be personal development, like I mentioned. It could be asserting your independence. It could be getting, really strict about your health and really focused on that and like taking it serious, scheduling those doctor appointments and things like that. All right. So this is a time for you, Virgo, to trust in your abilities and to take a proactive step towards manifesting your goals, right? Creating those things that you want, and being detailed and strategic about getting it done and where you're going, and also making sure that you're asserting yourself and being confident that you can get it done. Okay. So Libra, sun, moon, and rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 12th house, which is the house of spirituality and introspection and sleep and the subconscious patterns and, self-sabotage and hidden enemies and all that good stuff, right? So you're prompted to explore your inner world and engage in practices that really nurture your spiritual well-being. So it's a favorable time for meditation and dream analysis or therapeutic work, to release past traumas and embrace greater levels of self-awareness, right? So, trusting in the power of surrendering and finding, what's the word, solace in moments of solitude and reflection. Okay. And so a lot of this 12th house energy can also bring in like some type of reversal or an ending, more so than a reversal, like an ending to something, launching something and like you're wrapping up a cycle or you're wrapping up like a phase or some type of, situation where it's like, like maybe it's just like a certain cycle. Like you could be in school, right? And you're wrapping up the school, like you're graduating, or you could be, finishing something and like this cycle, this process, this cycle, or this, can't even think of the word, but whatever it is, it's coming to a close. There's an ending happening here. Okay. So there you go. Now moving on to Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 11th house. So this is the house that kind of illuminates your social networks and your aspirations, your collective ideas, your networking circles, your friendships, your overall goals, hopes, and wishes. And so you're really encouraged to connect with like-minded individuals and pursue your shared goals and causes, things that are bigger than us. This is a favorable time for networking, joining groups or organizations, maybe even collaborating on projects that promote positive change, not only within your life, but within your community or the society at large, right? Something that is bigger than us. It's a time for us to embrace, or really for you, excuse me, it's a time for you, Scorpio, to embrace your role as a catalyst, right? For transformation, because you're a Scorpio after all, right? So just kind of like embrace your role, right? Embrace your duty, that you, wherever you are, whatever you end up, whatever organization or position or place or whatever situation, circumstance, location, whatever, you're there to create change and you're there to create a major transformation, whether it's within that environment or within yourself, and foster those meaningful connections that happen through this change with other people, right? So especially with this 11th house energy, this is like creating major change and transformation within the large organizations. Like this is also maybe you're wrapping up something that has to do with the large organization, like you've been in a cycle or you've been in a situation and it's like, okay, I'm ending this cycle, or I'm launching this thing. Also, this might be a time for you doing like a lot of social media things and getting recognized for that. Okay. So keep that in mind. Moving on to Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 10th house. So this is the house that emphasizes your career, your ambitions, your ambitions, your public image, your responsibilities to the world. And so you're prompted to really evaluate your professional goals and take a strategic step towards advancement and recognition. All right. So like you're looking possibly to either quit a job and start a new one. So you could be wrapping up that cycle of being at an old location or an old position and you're moving into a different position. This is a favorable time for you to set ambitious career objectives or recognize what has culminated up to this point, right? Seeking mentorship or guidance from authority figures. Also showcasing your expertise and leadership skills, trusting in your ability to achieve success through hard work and perseverance, right? And just kind of like looking back at how far you've come and recognizing where you are now. Okay. So moving forward, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your 9th house. So this is the house of higher education, travel, philosophical pursuits for the Capricorns. And maybe it's about your beliefs. It could be about mentorship and pilgrimage, your life path, your life cycle, all those good things. So you are encouraged to really expand your horizons and embrace opportunities for intellectual growth and exploration. So you possibly could be graduating from college or a higher educational institution or something like that. Or you could be finishing a mentorship program or even launching your own mentorship program at this time. This is a favorable time for, like I said, higher education, but also spiritual studies and embarking on a journey of self-discovery through maybe travel or cultural immersion. Maybe you're going to go on a sabbatical or pilgrimage of some sort, traveling to a different location or a different continent so you can learn about someone else's experience or another cultural experience, so that way you can kind of like infuse that into what you're doing or where you're trying to go, what plans or what life goals you have for yourself. Keep an open mind and embrace the wisdom that's gained from this new experience and these perspectives that you are obtaining at this time. All right, so for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising, this full moon is happening in your 8th house, okay? So this is the house that really brings focus on your intimacy, shared resources. And like I said, resources don't have to necessarily be monetary things. It could definitely be, things that you share with other people. It could be many different things. It's not necessarily money, just any type of resource, right? And it's things that you share with your partner or you share with other people. Also, the 8th house represents like government money and loans, taxes, and debts. And so it's a house of transformation. And so you are really like kind of prompted to dive deep into matters of the psyche, because it also rules the psyche, and explore the hidden truths of things. So there might be some hidden secrets, some things that are illuminated with this full moon that kind of come up to the surface. And so this is a time for maybe psychotherapy or shadow work or even, financial planning, since that, connection to debts and taxes and finances and whatnot. Just to make sure that you are stable and secure, not only within yourself, but in your partnerships or your relations with other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be intimacy, but it definitely can highlight intimate relationships because of the 8th house connection, as well as, whatever investments. Now, investments could be monetary, but they also could be just that you have invested your time or you've invested something else into this thing and you want to see what your return on that investment is going to be. So just kind of like making sure that you're doing the deep inner work to ensure that there's stability there, that things are more practical, right? So embrace the process of regeneration and trust in the power of being vulnerable and transformative when it comes to these things. Like remain open for things to kind of transform for you. All right. So last but definitely not least, we have Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This Virgo full moon is happening in your seventh house. So Virgo, this is a house of, partnerships and relationships, interpersonal dynamics. This also has a lot to do with your commitments and contracts. So you're encouraged to really nurture your connections with other people at this time and seek harmony and balance in your interactions. This is a really great time for deepening existing relationships or forming new alliances. There also might be an opportunity for you to let go of a relationship that no longer serves you. There also might be an opportunity where there's a commitment or a contract that you previously signed, and now that contract is ending and it's, wrapping up its cycle at this time. And so you're being released from this contract and now you're embarking on something new. This is maybe a good time for those who are in existing partnership to seek counseling or couples therapy to address any other like underlying issues that are going on in your relationship. Now, also, Pisces, this is a wonderful time for you to cultivate empathy and compassion when it comes to your relationships while prioritizing mutual respect and understanding, right? So that reciprocity is really huge and big at this time. And just making sure that you're paying attention to the details, making sure that you are having those communications that need to be had at this time, have those conversations, discuss what needs to be discussed, do what needs to be done, make those plans, right? And if this has nothing to do with a relationship, maybe it's a business contract or a business endeavor, or maybe just talking with your best friend about whatever misunderstanding that you previously had. Okay. So there is that. All right. So that's all that I have for all 12 signs. And I hope that this reading was beneficial and helpful for you. I hope you have a wonderful full moon in Virgo and you release what needs to be released and you let it all go, because we are embarking on newness and we are going to be letting things go so we can invite the new in that better serves us and where we are embarking on going. Okay. So like I said previously, don't forget your Reiki as well as your astrology readings at the description box below, along with your House of Chiron merch. Okay. And yeah, that is all that I have. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead and the rest of February. I will see you all in March. Have a good one. Goodbye.